Welcome to Sports from the Couch.
I gotta say, it's the stupidest thing in sports.
With your host, Mike Mercado.
Players cannot stand him. Coaches cannot stand him. Most importantly, the fans can't stand him.
Brought to you by Mercado Airwaves.
I'm gonna say it once, and hopefully I'm wrong, but it's a disaster waiting to happen.
That is so bad, that is absolutely brutal.
Hello and welcome into Sports from the Couch here on Mercado Airwaves. I'm your host, Mike Mercado. I want to thank you so much for making us a part of your day. It is Monday, November 30th, 2020, and on today's edition of the show, we only talk about the Bears and how bad, pathetic, and horrible they looked on Sunday Night Football against the Green Bay Packers. But before we get to all of that, let's take care of some housekeeping notes. You can follow me on Twitter at Mike M Media. I'm on Instagram at Mike Mercado Media, and the show is on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk. Like, rate, review, and share us wherever you get your favorite podcast at Mercado Airwaves. Become a producer of the network at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves, the home to our interviews with athletes and celebrities that you could get ad-free and before anyone else at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. We have swag just in time for this holiday season at teespring.com/Mercado Airwaves. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Mercado Airwaves Network. Come play video games with us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves. And of course, if you would like to keep up to date with everything we're doing on the podcast network, from the true crime show, the pop culture show, the interviews, the community shows, follow us on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves.
3rd and 10. Here is Rodgers with time. Oh, a bunch of it. End zone shot. Adams goes up and gets it. Touchdown, Green Bay. This is the 6th different starting group for the Bears in 11 games, and they open a big hole for Montgomery. A foot race through the secondary. Montgomery all the way down to the 8-yard line. Looking at the board, he's thinking about throwing it. He doesn't throw it. It's 3rd and goal. Trubisky throws it end zone, and Robinson goes up. Did he have possession? No. It was pulled out of there. 1st and goal for the Packers. We begin the second quarter, and Rodgers on the roll to the end zone. Mercedes Lewis, touchdown Green Bay. So far, 4 of 6 throwing. Deep drop here, looking downfield. Aggressive call, and a shot into double coverage is intercepted. They tried to stay aggressive, tried to go deep, and Darnell Savage there for the interception. 1st and goal, Green Bay. Fake to Jones, Rodgers backpedals, puts it up top. Touchdown, Green Bay.
That was so unbelievable, Mike.
Allen Lazard with the leap. Of course, the 3rd down team in the league. Now it's 3rd and 17. Another big rush from Gary. Trubisky lost the ball. It's scooped by Preston Smith, who takes it in for the Green Bay defensive touchdown. So if you run, it gets dangerous. Trubisky fakes the run, throws for the touchdown. Allen Robinson, good play design there. And the Bears get into the end zone for the first time here tonight. Wind gust comes through, 3rd and 11. Pack bringing 5. Trubisky taking it deep into a lot of coverage. It is intercepted. Darnell Savage was touched. So down by contact back at the 47-yard line. Jumps to the NFL, but Rodgers was already here, so you have to have an open mind to work together. Rodgers flips his hips, flips it downfield, wide open. Tonyan, touchdown, Packers. And Aaron looks like a kid in candy. Straight ahead run. William Powers spins and scores. Out there on Alexander again. Trubisky to the middle of the field for the touchdown for Allen Robinson. At the bottom of the screen. 4 to the top. They'll go to that bunch and see if they can block for Montgomery. And they can. David Montgomery has a receiving touchdown for the 2nd time this year. Cordero Patterson was the motion man. Trubisky put it up, and it's a 2-point conversion with Darnell Mooney.
Those highlights and lowlights come to us courtesy of NBC from Sunday Night Football between the Bears and the Green Bay Packers. It was a sorry, pathetic, unforgivable, unwatchable, undeniable disaster of a game from the Chicago Bears on Sunday Night Football against the Green Bay Packers as they fall 25-41, now 5-6 on the season. The Packers now 8-3 on the season. And I mean, we could go so many directions here. We can go so many directions and how hard we want to go in the paint on this team. It was watching that game was a microcosm of 2020 in its own year, right? The ebbs and flows. Oh, okay, that's not too bad. That's not horrible. Okay, look, there's a little bright spot. And then the cliff fell off, and all we knew is we were in despair for the next 60 minutes. It was so bad. And we could go stat by stat. We could talk about it. I mean, here, we'll just go over it. Mitch Trubisky, 26 of 46, 242 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Basically a Mitchell Trubisky day, right? 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. David Montgomery had a whole 11 carries, guys. One of those being a 52-yarder, right? Ends up with only 103 yards. Explain to me why I don't see David Montgomery running the ball, 26 times. I get it. It got out of hand. Got out of hand because you had no offensive plan. You had no offensive rhythm. And we'll get right into it. I mean, we'll talk about it. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, 21 of 29, 211 yards, 4 touchdowns. Aaron Jones touches the ball 17 times, gets 90 yards. Jamal Williams touches the ball 17 times, gets 73 yards. Devontae Adams, 6 receptions, 61 yards, a touchdown. Robert Tonyan, 5 receptions, 67 yards, a touchdown. Lazard, Mercedes Lewis, all touchdowns. Let's look over here at the Bears. Yeah, Allen Robinson, 8 receptions. Yeah, targets, gets 13 targets. Yeah, sure. 2 touchdowns. Big game for him, right? It should have been 3 touchdowns, by the way. A-Rob, love you. You're doing everything you can. But like when you're talking a big game and you need to be the superstar in an NFL where we're seeing Will Fullers and Antonio Gibsons, DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, we're seeing these guys go off. Bunch of touchdowns. A.J. Browns. And you just go on the list, just play fantasy football or just watch the NFL Red Zone. And I get it's bigger than that. I understand that. Of all people to pick it, Allen Robinson, that's not the guy. But when you see a play like that, it's just so deflating that he doesn't come down with that touchdown. Because you see it all around the league. I mean, Jimmy Graham, 3 receptions. Darnell Mooney, 3 receptions. Cole Kmet, I mean, look, and I know we were harping on that he needed to play, but every time we see him play, the ball is ending up on the turf or he's making a mistake. And I get it, he's a rookie. But like, again, in the NFL, in this NFL, where guys are making impact right away, whether or not they're 21, 22, 23 years old, that's when you get these guys in their prime when it's but most beneficial to your team. Not saying it's a benefit towards the guys themselves. Like, yeah, they're the ones getting screwed over on that situation. But without a shadow of a doubt, you need more impact in that given moment. Haven't been getting it. And here's some ridiculous stuff. Here we go. Listen to this one. Without Akeem Hicks, is the Bears defense really that bad? Because listen to this. The Bears finished with 0 sacks, 0 quarterback hits, and 1 tackle for loss. That's a bad defense. Those are numbers of a bad defense. And last night, for the first time in the Matt Nagy era, in the Khalil Mack era, they look like they gave up in a game. And I don't know that we can give you evidence of it. Like there's this 2 + 2 = 4 type of evidence, okay? Like it's semantics, it's the eye, it's just the feeling you get, right? And it's subjective. Granted, and I'm not going to go hard on this defense because we all know they can only do so much. They've been doing so much. And on top of it all, this has been the trend. The trend has that they are going on the bottom side of this roller coaster. They're on the downside of it. We saw the greatness that was this defense, and it got them to the playoffs. It got them a division lead. And then a kicker and not so great of an offense that has been going bad since that moment disappointed this team. So, while yes, they're the crown champions of this team, they got crowned on this game, and they got smacked around. Aaron Rodgers did whatever he wanted to do to that defense. That running game did whatever they wanted to that defense, and again, I get it, Akeem Hicks not being there. I refuse to believe that this defense is as bad as they played without him. And yes, Khalil Mack gets held all the time. Khalil Mack is always double teamed. I get it, all that. He's not getting help from Robert Quinn. I get all that. But for 1 second, where is Khalil Mack, the superstar, as good as Aaron Donald, should be the guy that's getting more recognition than Myles Garrett, got $100 and something million? Again, that's my guy. That's all of our guy, right? Like, we ride and die with this dude, but the simple fact is he hasn't been there. When was the last time you heard the impact game that he has had that we're accustomed to, that we saw in Oakland, that we saw the first 2 years here in Chicago? We haven't seen it, and you needed it on prime time last night. And I don't think this Packers team is as good as that record says they are. Again, you are what your record says it is. I understand that. We were saying it about the Bears earlier. But of all the teams that we see that have a good record, that are leading their divisions, that have a chance to make a playoff run, they're the one that seems the most susceptible to getting caught. Especially when we've seen them, 3-3 in their last 6? They were mentioning that. So you had an opportunity right in front of you. You still had a chance to take a stance in this division and put yourself in a position later on in the season when you meet them again, to play Minnesota again, to keep yourself in a true title contender situation. And instead, off a bye week, you look like that. And this is it. I mean, what else is there to say? On the last episode of Sports from the Couch, we went and we talked about it. I mean, we dug into it. Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy need to go. And this is coming from me. I don't fire anybody. I don't want to see people without jobs. Jim Boylan was the first guy I'm like, yo, this dude gots to go. Guys, Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace need to go. And it sucks that you are becoming the Cleveland Browns, but you know what? That in itself is inevitable. Because your ownership has no idea how to put football people in football positions. Who would have thunk it, right? You know, mechanics, you get somebody who knows how to fix a car, right? You have an IT department, you get somebody who knows how to fix computers. Well, if you own a football team, you hire people who know, make a football team. You know, it doesn't matter if Pittsburgh has a bad year or maybe even a okay next year. As an organization, as a fan base, when you're a Steelers fan, you know you're always going to be doing the right things. There's always going to be the other end of anything bad. As a Chicago Bears fan, this just living in mediocrity and living on the lore of stuff that happened 100 years ago. Still talking about Sid Luckman. Still talking about this 85 Bears team. Like it means something. There are literally kids in high school who are playing right now that will get scholarships to play big-time university football, then get drafted into the NFL, who have no idea what the 85 Bears are. No, what they know, it's Mitch Trubisky. What they know is that you traded up for Mitch Trubisky. What they know is that you didn't interview Deshaun Watson, that you didn't or draft Patrick Mahomes, that you gave money to Mike Glennon, that you gave money and draft picks for Nick Foles, that you didn't bring in Cam Newton, that you didn't look at Andy Dalton, that you didn't look at Ryan Fitzpatrick. Once again, we are in a position. We're off a bye week. Your coaching staff couldn't come up with a game plan, couldn't put his players in the right position to at least look halfway decent and competent. And on national TV against the Green Bay Packers, the same weekend that Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes lead their teams to victory and ball out. How many times are Bears fans going to be okay with this? Now the onus is on you. Are you going to show up next year when Mayor Lightfoot or Governor Pritzker decide to let people back in stadiums? Or if you're comfortable going back in stadiums, are you going to invest in going to see this team? Remember when Ryan Pace said that he was going to draft quarterbacks every year? That is essential. It's the most important position in the game. And this is what we got coming off a bye week against the Green Bay Packers. When your season was on the line, And more than anything, if you want to be selfish, if you're Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy, more than anything, your job was on the line. And you put yourself in that position. That was a bad football team. This is a bad football team. It was fool's gold in the beginning. They beat on weak teams. They let weak teams beat them. And they got one fluky win against Tampa Bay, who knows what Tampa Bay is. Ryan Pace, at the very least, needs to go. Look, you can say Matt Nagy doesn't have the offensive weapons to put together to make them a good team, the kind of team that they ran in Philadelphia or Kansas City. Okay, you know what I did see, though, was Bruce Arians make a adjustment for Tom Brady. And then all of a sudden, they're in this game. What I see is that good coaches, like a Shanahan or over in Arizona, that these guys make adjustments for their players. Pretty crazy, huh? Oh, Kyler Murray, he's pretty good with the ball, whether he's running or throwing it. He can make a split decision. Guess what they do next? Oh, I don't know. They make a game plan for it. Does this look like it's been game planned for Mitchell Trubisky? You've already learned he can't pick up your offense, and maybe your offense is overcomplicated for the sake of overcomplication, if that's a freaking word. Because everything with this team is harder than it needs to be. Ryan Pace went into the season thinking this was a good offensive line. Ryan Pace drafted Mitchell Trubisky over Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. This is the front office that during the draft decided with the little equity it did have to invest in cornerbacks and in safeties and in tight ends that they don't use. This regime has failed. And I understand because I'm the one that said it. The closest thing that you become is the Cleveland Browns, the Jacksonville Jaguars, once you start having these coaches and GMs in a carousel. I get it. But this isn't working. And it obviously isn't going to work forward. They're not even having conversations with Allen Robinson on a contract extension. So I don't even know where their mindset is. And if you just look around the NFL, all the young, good quarterbacks who are keeping their teams in games. Mitch is making the same mistakes he's done before. Overthrows, happy feet, not reading the defense. Is he better than Nick Foles? Probably. That doesn't mean much. Nick Foles, you can never take it away from him. We always have to caveat it. Yeah, he went on a magic run and was a Super Bowl MVP. He balled out at that time. You can't say anything else. That was a flash in the pan moment. This organization invested in that. Invested this defense's last hurrah on it. Does Ryan Pace deserve to look at a new quarterback? To get another head coach if they go that direction? To make any move that has any consequence on the future of this franchise? Do I love Khalil Mack? Am I glad they got him? Yes. And is it easy to talk about that trade now being negative or positive, whatever? Of course. But he made that choice and it failed. They didn't win. They didn't even win a playoff game. For some reason, there's this weird aura around that this team has done something. They didn't even win a playoff game. They didn't get out of the wild card game. That it's as simple as that. And we're over here for the seventh time of a bye week. This is how they look on national TV this season again. And in the NFC North, on display, Aaron Rodgers torches what is your tentpole of your franchise, your defense. And if you aren't embarrassed as a fan base that when a network comes to your city and the only thing they could talk about is deep dish pizza, which within the city of Chicago, the greatest city in the world, is okay. Like, yeah, we like deep dish, but there's so many better pizzas in Chicago. And stuff from 1985 and stuff from the 60s, 50s, 40s and black and white pictures. You should be embarrassed. You should be embarrassed and you should be frustrated and you should show them with your wallets. The Bulls heard everything that happened. Jerry Reinsdorf, Michael Reinsdorf got rid of everybody in the front office. Good vibes now for Chicago, right? For the Bulls. Everything was going great for the White Sox until they made the Tony La Russa move. But regardless, all the good vibes for that roster. The Blackhawks, some management change, some philosophy change, and they become the dynasty of their sport, bringing back hockey in this city as much as they could. The Cubs, obviously, with Theo Epstein, his regime ending, the Jed Hoyer era beginning now, they won a World Series, for God's sakes. There is no excuse anymore. The Chicago Bears need to be better, and they're not. They're just as bad as the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Cleveland Browns, historically, and any other bad team you could think of. That's who the Bears are. And you could say, well, at least it beats being a Cowboys fan. But here's the thing, though. At least they make it fun. I'm on Twitter at Mike M Media, Instagram, Mike Mercado Media. You can follow the show on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk. That'll do it for us on this edition of Sports from the Couch here on Mercado Airwaves. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Don't forget, you can follow us all over the universe. You can follow me on Twitter at Mike M Media. I'm on Instagram at Mike Mercado Media. And the show is on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk. Like, rate, review, and share us wherever you get your favorite podcast at Mercado Airwaves. Become a producer of the network at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves, the home to our interviews with athletes and celebrities that you can get ad-free and before anyone else at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. We have swag just in time for this holiday season at teespring.com/Mercado Airwaves. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Mercado Airwaves Network. Come play video games with us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves. And of course, if you would like to keep up to date with everything we're doing on the podcast network, from the true crime show, the pop culture show, the interviews, the community shows, follow us on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves. Enjoy the beginning of your week. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We will see you next time here on Sports from the Couch on the Mercado Airwaves Network. I'm Mike Mercado.